everyone, so I know that the exam season is coming around the corner quite fast. I thought I would do like a sort of how I revise with a little bit of sort of revision tip. Seeing as a lot of you guys will be obviously revising for GCSEs, A-levels, degree level exams, I thought that it would probably be quite helpful to just show you some of my bits of advice and how. So I take 3 A-levels. I take business studies, psychology and French. In a roundabout way, that's a humanities, kind of a science and a language, which are 3 very different subjects, and I find that you do kind of have to revise differently for each subject because of how they just work. To revise for each of these subjects, I have A5 sized lever arch files for each subject, so I've got 3 of those, and in those I write summarised notes of for the topics in little A5 sized refill pads. All of these things, most of them will be in stationery hauls that I've done in the past. I'll leave the links to those. And then the colours that I use, I kind of colour code each topic as well when I write these summarised notes corresponding to the colours in the textbooks per topic. So for example, my first topic in psychology was a sort of orangey red colour, so I used an orangey red fine liner to do any like highlighting and bold words and things. That stage was a lot more sort of long-term revision, so if you've got a lot more time, I kind of try and do that as early as possible. And the next stage of my revision, I have record card files, which I got from WH Smith. I don't know whether I put those in a haul as well. They're just record cards in a little record card folder. Using those, I then further summarise what I've already made notes on in my A5 files, which is probably more towards when it gets closer to the exam, so that's more like cramming sort of stage. So, you know, if you haven't got time to be writing A5 sized notes, then just go for the record cards. Then with other flashcards, particularly for vocab, for my French, or for definitions for things, because in my business studies I have quite a lot of definitions to learn. They also work for equations as well, so if you're taking like something like maths or physics or something that has a lot of equations in there, then this is also probably quite useful. I make flashcards, like smaller ones, with keywords. So for example, with French, the English will go on one side and the French will go on the other. And then I'll put those in miniature popper wallets. And that's more long term, but if you've got time to do that, like cramming, then I would recommend it because it's really helpful. If I have time and if I can be bothered, to be honest, I will write, I'll use larger flashcards and write sort of example questions that will help me test myself on everything that I need to know. And with my psychology, I have a lot of key studies, so that's really helpful for that. I will put the name of the study, and then on the other side I'll put all the information about it, and then I can like recall it. The other thing that really helps me is I like to print off as many past papers of the paper that I know I'm going to be doing from the internet. You can get them on your exam board's website, but your teachers might have already given you some, and it helps you with exam technique and obviously just making sure that you know the information as well. Also for vocab and definitions, I also use an app called Quizlet, which just makes it really easy to revise when you're on the go, or when you're, you know, just when you've got like a spare 5 minutes where you can't sit down and like properly revise, but you want to actually do something. So it's really useful for vocab and definitions. Essentially you just put in all the information into the app, and then whenever you want to play it, like, you know, if you're waiting for the bus or something, you can it's just like, you know, the definition or the word will come up and you have to write the definition or the word or whatever way around you want to do it, and that's really, really helpful. That makes it a lot easier to revise because it's a lot less effort, because you're just sort of sat on your phone and it's kind of like playing a game. If you're studying French, then I have previously found it really difficult to know what to revise, because obviously it's a language, so it's not really very many set topics. I have made like a table on my computer of key phrases on that theme. So for example, one of our topics is cinema, so I've made you know, things like a for and against table of, you know, advantages of going to the cinema, disadvantages of going to the cinema, you know, advantages of home movies and things like that, then I know that I've got the phrases that I need, and I know that they're correct, and it means that I don't have to sit there in the exam figuring out how to say a certain thing. There are oral exams, as in speaking exams. Certainly at GCSE and A-level, you probably have set questions. So what I find is really useful is if you've got the time, because it is quite time consuming, especially handwritten, but I like to make flashcards for each question. I mean, it probably is quicker to do it on a computer, but I prefer to write it out. When I revise my French orals, I just like look at the flashcard. It's got the question on one side, my pre-written answer, and I've just got to, you know, say whatever's on the other side. And I find that quite easy, and because you can mix them up, you're not learning them by topic, you're learning them a lot better. And that is generally just sort of how I revise. And then these are my tips for revising. First of all, use colour wisely. So I use particular colours for keywords and titles and things to make them stand out, of course. But I also use colours based on the topic that they're in. It brings a lot more order to my notes. If you have more than one past paper available to you, then I would do a past paper before you start revising. Just because, for one, it's a nice, easy, quite kind way to get yourself into revising, and it does show you what you do and don't know, because, I mean, obviously you haven't done any revision, so this is what you just know off the top of your head. Personally, I don't really find revision timetables all too helpful. If you are going to do a revision timetable, what I find a bit more useful is to section it by topics rather than in time slots, because I find that with a revision timetable that's like 20 minutes or something, I've nearly finished a topic, so I carry on anyway, and then it never works anyway. So I always do it by topic, so that you know that once you've done that little bit of work, that's a whole chunk of your revision gone. And it also means that personally, because I like to get it done in chunks with topics, it means that you don't really feel time pressured with sort of, oh, I've only got another 10 minutes to get this little bit done. I would try using different revision methods per subject. Every subject is different, and so you kind of have to learn each subject differently. You have to revise French differently to how you would revise history, because they're different topics and how they work is completely different. If you really, really are getting distracted with like internet and just your surroundings, try leaving the house to revise. I found revising in a local library or like in a school library, it makes you a lot more productive. Personally, it helps me feel like I'm like that day is a working day, not a just sort of relaxing day, because I'm not at home. I'm forced to sort of like, you know, get up, go out, and I just feel a lot more productive when I do that. So I find that's a lot more effective than just sitting at home in my bedroom doing it. One that I found really, really helpful, especially when I'm studying in school where things can be quite loud, is if background noises really distract you, but you don't like complete silence, like in particular like people talking or something, I would recommend going into YouTube, searching white noise. There's like videos that are just the sound of white noise. They kind of sound like background noise when you're on an airplane. The videos are really, really long. They're like 10 hours, so you know you don't have to worry about it suddenly stopping whilst you're revising. And I just find those really helpful. I just put my headphones in, listen to that, and I can just completely concentrate. Also, I recommend putting your phone on airplane mode or just turning it off, even when you're in breaks, because I just find that things like the internet are really easy to get sidetracked with, especially on your breaks. I personally would just recommend not going on the internet completely, so then you've got no distractions whilst you're revising, and you also can't really get sidetracked afterwards. Okay, so those are all my tips and tricks that I have for revising. I hope that this video was helpful to you in some way, hopefully. Make sure that you give this video a big thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe as well if you are new and you would like to see more from me. Tell me in the comments what exams you've got, because I've only got 2 this year because of the whole AS changing around thing. I'd like to know what you guys are all, what exams you guys have got as well. If you've got any other tips and tricks that I haven't mentioned in this but you also find useful, please do tell me in the comments as well, because that would be really useful for me and anyone else that's watching this video as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all very, very soon. Bye!